sickness is a defense against the truth. Another spectacular one that just radiates and continues to be in my mind all throughout my practice. Just anytime sickness comes up, you can't help but to think sickness is a defense against the truth. And likely most of the time have no idea, no clue what it means. Right? It's a pretty interesting thing because especially when you're already sick. Essentially, and what it mentions is that if the body's sick, then the mind is sick. Surely you have forgotten who you are because you think of who you are as a body. And this is pretty profound stuff, and this is getting into, of course, the factor that what you actually are is not a body. You are far greater, far more expansive than what a body can contain. Of course, what a body is within what you are, but you are not within the body. Just like in a sleeping dream, you have ideas of people, and yet you see them, you feel them, you touch them. Sometimes it's so vivid and lucid dreaming, right? And it's so amazing, and you're actually dealing with other people, so it seems. But they are all thoughts within your mind. So many layers of personal deception of yourself, within yourself, of your consciousness. They are thoughts, beliefs, ideas within the mind of Christ. That everything that you are experiencing is only experienced because you, who made them, believe in them. You are the only one that can believe in them, because you are the only one that made them. So again, when I'm saying you, I'm talking about this eternal Christ being. I'm not talking about you as a specific identity. Oh, but if I'm doing it, then he's doing it, and she's doing it, and if we're all doing it, then who's really doing it? Yeah, no. Just like many people in a sleeping dream, right? Many people in a sleeping dream. And yet there's only one dreamer there. You are everybody in your dream. So this idea of sickness, physical or mental or emotional or any kind of sickness, okay? Any kind of sickness are ideas within consciousness. So it mentions this idea about attack thoughts and of course has resentments and grievances and negative ideas and such like that, that those naturally bring about negative, problematic grievance experiences, because you experience your mind, and so whatever you have in your mind, you then find evidence of in your experience, if not literally manifest the experience. So yes, quite literally, this is a key to miraculous works. If you really want to be a miracle worker, you have to recognize that all sickness is only to keep you from knowing yourself. I know I've been sick since I've discovered this whole say Christ experience. I've been sick since my death experience. I've been physically ill since then. And the most amazing thing, every single time, as much as I think, oh, no, I know who I am and I want it to go away, it's not about that. It's about the fact that you think you're a body that wants the sickness go away. So it's the occurrence, the sensation, just like it mentions in proper thinking, the body will not feel anything at all. Anything at all. Nothing. It's going to feel nothing at all. So if you feel something, anything, any sort of sensation, then you are associating yourself to it. So it's not in the sense of, oh, the body can get sick and be healthy, get sick and healthy, but if I'm the body, then I get sick and healthy. And you disassociate it. It's not a disassociating and the body still gets sick and healthy. No, once you disassociate from being a body, the body being a completely neutral thing cannot get sick or healthy. You're like, wait, can't get healthy? Wait a second. Yeah, it's just like that idea. Does reincarnation exist? Essentially, incarnation doesn't even exist. So if incarnation exists, yes, reincarnation exists, because to do it again would simply just to be doing it again. But what I'm saying is that you're not a body. You're not a body. You never were a body. You're not a body now. So this gets into this idea of medical intuition, and not just picking up on medical ailments and diagnosing things and such like that, but the other version in which it picking up on where it manifests from, like interpreting the sensation, interpreting the sickness, the disease, to recognizing that it's all manifest from a sense of a disorder or disease of the mind. That once the mind is thinking or obsessed with a way of thinking, it then manifests, and I'm completely abbreviating the details of this, it then manifests into physical form as ailments, diseases, and disorders and such. So it's a pretty fascinating thing that you can actually discover, if you experience a sickness and a pain, what that is manifest from. But the interesting thing that I always bring up is that you actually have to really want it in such a great passion that you have to get past your own resistance. Because it's likely that you don't want to know what it is manifest from. Because that's why it's manifest. It's actually been you hiding it. You've been suppressing it within your consciousness. And so it manifests because you got to pay attention to it. You got to get over it. You got to heal it, whatever it might be. You got to forgive it. And so you think of it as a physical disorder or disease or disease or something, some ailment of some sort, right? And so even if I told you what it was, you'd likely be in denial about it. If I told you and kind of picked it apart a little bit, you might even say that you've already dealt with that and all these things. Well, the interesting thing is if you have one, you must have the other. They go hand in hand. If you get rid of the mind problem, you get rid of the manifested problem. It is the same thing. So even though you think of this as a tiny little mind, this is referring to also the big mind, Christ consciousness. You see problems in the world because you have problems in your mind. You have strange ideas about the way in which a world should work, in which a government should work, a health system, and whatever is happening that you see in the world. You are not just in part of this, but you are part of this. And that is the entirety of the manifestation, in which is sickness. So it's a very interesting thing, because you're likely to get inspired and thinking about this, and I want to elaborate and reiterate again that say you have a pain in your foot, it's likely that if you recognize what a pain in your foot means, and you take the symbolism of it and take it, even just generalizing it as a resistance to stepping forward or moving forward in your life, depending on where, about following inspiration, about speaking up or asking for help about how you're moving forward, and all these different things, that when you associate that, you're like, yeah, maybe, yeah, I feel that a little bit, but then you don't think it's a huge problem. And if you actually recognize where forgiveness can be applied, you literally can get rid of and change your mind to literally get rid of and change the problem. This is how miraculous experiences, especially healings, occur. Quite literally, thinking differently. And it's not just like, okay, I gotta think more positive. But it's a transition where you don't even remember thinking, say, negative.